have on the back.
What's going on, beautiful people? I am the Grandmaster, and I also go by D-Ray, bringing you guys the next episode of the Grandmaster's Table. And as always, I'm joined by my beautiful co-host, Summer. Say hi.
Hi.
Your ASMR gets better every single week. Guys, I'm real happy that you guys enjoyed last week's episode where it's just Summer and I. We'd like to bring those to you a little bit more often because it seems as though people enjoyed it a lot more than we thought we would. And the general prowess of that was just to bring the overall news of the community to you guys. So content creators, if you post on Twitter, we will be watching, as well as Discord, because people like to get updated with that kind of stuff, and it's cool to get everybody together to talk about the same subjects, and all on a positive note. So thank you guys so much for the support. We're glad to have a guest on today. Today we have a very, very special treat for you. For those who live under a rock and don't watch the WBE, World Battle Entertainment, commissioned, owned, and created by the one and only A-Drive Dan. He decided to make the decision to split the league into two parts. There's the singles, as we've experienced as always, run by our good friend Joey, aka PokeMMD. Shout out to you. And then he split it to the VGC side, which is the Pokemon official format of doubles, which is really cool because, you know, there's different audiences that like different things.
Yeah.
And the one special thing that he did about this league that's different from any other, that a lot of us, especially us at the BBR, are going to be following, is that he reached out to Twitter and to see if he can find new coaches that are not only new to the format, but just new to the scene. And we found a gem. So today, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Sierra Dawn.
Hello. How's it going?
Guys, it's gonna be a great episode, trust me. Disclaimer, she said that she was super nervous, but she will relax because she is a beautiful soul. If you guys have not seen any of her content, it's gonna be a good time, trust me. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe, and it's gonna be what am I saying? Now I'm nervous.
Yeah, you are.
Let's pull this back.
You keep repeating yourself.
I'm repeating myself.
Yeah.
What's happening here? Guys, if you guys are enjoying this episode so far, make sure you smash the thumbs up button. And if you're new, por favor, hit the subscribe button. Turn on post notifications, hit the bell button so you can get notified every single time I post a new video. Jesus. Now that I've gotten over my nerves, that came out of nowhere. Wow. Sierra, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. What about you two?
We're doing good.
Great. Yeah, doing great.
Now, we have to ask you because I think a couple of our close friends have been asking. You live in Canada, yeah?
I do, yes.
Okay.
Because the reason we ask, you are coach of the Toronto Maple Muse, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so what time is it for you over there? Do you share the same PST time as we do?
I don't. It's actually midnight here, so
Jeez.
a little late.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
That's the day.
Gosh, I'm sorry.
That's the thing that we find.
No. Y'all say that like my sleep schedule isn't all levels of messed up. It's cool. It's cool.
Welcome to the life of a content creator, guys. My goodness. You sound like you have a lot of energy too. Do you typically stream around this time?
No, this is normally when I just game or just work on things.
Oh, yeah.
Night owls.
Like my afternoon.
Yeah, afternoon.
A general day in the afternoon to Sierra Dawn. Now, I want to dip into something, Sierra. We talked about a little bit at the beginning of the podcast. Now, you reached out to Dan from that tweet, right? What was the whole mindset and the story about taking that step forward to getting yourself into the WBE?
Honestly, I'm just really, really impulsive, and I saw that he kept tweeting out looking for coaches, and I thought it would just be really funny to retweet it and just be like, hey guys, imagine me in this. And after, I think it was like 2 or 3 tweets of doing that until he finally messaged me. He's like, hey, I have you marked down. But I thought it would just be kind of something fun. And I mean, you got to shoot your shot, and seeing that opportunity present itself, I thought it would just be something cool to get into.
Well, you ended up getting in.
That's crazy.
And you did really, really well. Now, the beginning of the league, I'm sure, was a little bit difficult, yeah?
Oh, 100%. Everything was brand new. I hadn't even touched VGC, and all of a sudden I'm being thrown in this league with all of these fantastic players being expected to know what to do. It was super overwhelming.
Yeah, it was, guys, for those who, again, are living under this rock, just to kind of name a couple names that were in this league that was shared with Sierra. Aaron Cybertron Zhang, voice of the Pokemon community, My man is one of the main broadcasters that actually do the tournament. So he not only is a great battler himself because he's creating his own content on his own YouTube channel, basically laddering every single video. So he's got the experience as well as being able to explain it to the people that watch Pokemon in general. If you had the definition of experience in the metagame and the format, then his face would be plastered right there, along with 2016 world champion Wolf Glick. Dan also is doing a phenomenal job before, this whole COVID-19 situation. He was gaining his CP among a bunch of different tournaments, events, etc. Veteran of the podcast, the current champion Kyle A was also in the league. So a lot of heavy hitters. Did you find it more of a hurdle to get over, you being new to the format, or was it just getting over that fear, quote unquote, being involved with these kind of names?
It was almost more so I was nervous being involved with the names in a very public setting.
Yeah.
It's different if nothing's live, but all of a sudden I'm going into this league with all of these phenomenal players. And every mistake I make and all of this inexperience is just broadcasted live for my audience and for their audience to see, which that was the most nerve-wracking part of it all.
Yeah, I can see that.
I could definitely, see that.
But you've gotten better. I did a lot of VGC in my day, and I was curious about you as just like every other coach that was brand new, because obviously the magnifying glass is a lot bigger around the new coaches to see if this is even something that they can hang with these quote unquote great names. There's more criticism that's going to come with it. It's just part of the game, and it's just part of the fandom. Sometimes people are just used to different names, and when somebody new comes around, then everyone's just going to focus on you. And you started off pretty well, and you obviously progressed, making the playoffs at the end. What was that like? Tell us about that experience.
Oh my gosh, it was absolutely unreal. It was funny because it was something that I talked about after going 03. I talked about in a video how, this is just my anime arc, everybody. We got to take these losses and, hit our lowest moment, and all of a sudden we're going to come back stronger than ever, start winning. And I talked about it in week 3, and I took another loss then week 4 to Aaron. And I was just, I don't know, it felt really, really bad. So to finally start winning and to get to the point that I was beating people to make it to playoffs was just absolutely amazing. It was the whole thing that I was really hoping for to happen all along. So
you saw Summer has been talking to me a lot about manifestation.
Yes.
It's a real thing, guys. The law of attraction is not something fake. Trust me. It's not about you saying things over and over again, but it's about feeling it.
Thinking it.
Thinking it. Believing it. Truly thinking that it's going to happen. Now, I obviously watched almost every single one of your games, and there's 1 or 2 weeks, I can't remember exactly which week it was. I'm sure that you remember. Was that you literally looked in the camera and said that you're going to make playoffs and you're going to turn the ship around. To the point where your gaze pierced my soul and the confidence just oozed out of you out of nowhere. I think it was probably, you went 0-3, but then I don't know if you won week 4. I can't remember off the top of my head.
She said she lost week 4.
You lost week 4.
So that one.
Yeah.
So it had to be week 4 and beyond that you just flipped the switch and everything just turned around. And would you say that's because you just decided to buckle down and really starting to get into the format, because you actually started streaming on the ladder, right? Is that when you really decided to just go for it?
Well, I was really enjoying just the WBE experience, and I was just playing VGC on stream to learn, but I'm a super competitive person, and when I felt like I was just the person to lose in the league, I didn't actually really have that much desire to get better. But then people on Twitter started using me as an example on why newcomers should be allowed.
I remember seeing that.
And that kind of flipped a switch. I've played TCG competitively. I've played competitive sports my whole life, and that just kind of set something off to where I'm like, well, no, I want to do better. I talked to a couple friends of mine, a couple of the other coaches, and they're like, you can do this. You just need to get a front office, you need to practice, you need to put in this work. And then that's kind of when everything started coming together, was after that week 3 loss.
Yeah, that kind of, proving them wrong, that's exactly how I think anyone would, or most people would feel, especially competitive people that have that competitive aspect to them of oh, well, you say I can't, so I'm going to do it now. Like,
and that goes outside of Pokemon. That just goes in life in general. If you're just a competitive person, especially in a game like this where it's just so strategic, we like to compare it to like the strong baby, the mix of chess and poker, right? It's very intellectual. It's more than just a children's game when you get to this level.
Yeah.
And when someone is super competitive like yourself, it just really comes down to like who's going to stop you. And at that point, nobody, because you went on a rant, a tyrant, just all over the place. Now, when you got to the very peak of this hill that you climbed ever so gracefully, you saw Mr. Wolf Glick at the top. Now, we're going to talk about this because it was a huge deal to us watching you as fans. I rooted for you because you're just on a tyrant, sort of steamrolling through people. And then in order for you to get into playoffs, I remember talking to Kyle about it because Kyle and I are getting pretty close as of like the last few months. Kind of foreseeing what happens, right? You two were almost like neck and neck trying to get in. But what was stopping you to getting into playoffs was Wolf Glick. What was the mindset going into that matchup where it was do or die? Basically an extra playoff spot for you.
Well, basically, my front office was amazing for this because I was just like, well, this is a really tough matchup. And they just, every time they're like, no, you're going to win. You have this. Like, we're going to work hard. We're going to buckle down. And their attitude and like them believing in me just meant like the absolute world. And it made me believe that I could also do it instead of letting me wallow in like oh no, this is a really difficult opponent, feeling sorry for myself. Like Wolf is such a fantastic player, obviously one of the top of the league. And at the beginning of the week, I kind of felt a little sorry for myself. Like, man, I did all of this and now I'm going to be knocked out of the playoff spot. And they didn't let me sit in that thought for too long, which was really, really helpful leading up to that match.
Yeah, the support system was strong.
I definitely think that, like, when you surround yourself with people, you have people in your front office that aren't, because I've seen it where they're like, oh, yeah, this is a tough one. Like, they're like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's your front office. Yeah, I don't know about this one, guys. But when you surround yourself with people that, like, believe in you and that are positive, that makes a world of a difference, because then it gets in, you're like, okay, shoot, maybe I can do this, you know? And they pull you out of that instead of, like you said, letting you wallow in the like, oh yeah, I don't know if this is going to happen.
In the sorrows.
Yeah.
And for those who don't understand the context of the level of difficulty that Sierra must have felt in this pressure, just a little bit of a history lesson for those who are just recently getting into the WBE. This is Wolf started in season 2, I believe, 1 or 2. No, season 1. Homeboy won 3 straight.
Oh yeah.
And Wolf is primarily a doubles competitor. Was like, hey, after the GBA, why don't you just come try WBE, which is a singles format. And Homeboy is such a good player that he adapted so well and just won 3 championships straight in the WBE until Kyle came in and took it from him and broke the streak. And he is a great not only player, but he's able to obviously be more strategic, more so than his opponent. And obviously Sierra is in that. You get into this primal state where if you are ready to get something, then you're just going to get it, which Sierra tapped into at that time. And luckily, obviously, she made the playoffs. How was your transition to getting on such a high to get to where you were to now having to maintain that at the beginning of the playoffs?
Honestly, it was such an immense amount of pressure. I mean, especially since our first playoff match was against Aaron, who we had lost to in week 4. So we go from having to beat Wolf to then, it's Aaron again, who's just absolutely such a phenomenal competitor. And it was just absolutely terrifying. I mean, now, like, I feel like when we started winning the matches in the WBE to start getting into playoffs, nobody had these expectations of me. It was like, hey, if you're winning, that's super, super cool. People didn't, like, there was a lot of belief that I could maybe take the match off of Wolf, but there was a lot of naysayers that are like, no, you can't do it. But now that I'd actually make the playoffs and there was like a belief that this was something I could do, it just felt so much more pressure going into that match. Like there were so many more people to disappoint after making such a huge run to make it there in the first place.
Nice. It's massive accomplishment. A lot of people that play Draft League for X amount of years don't even see the playoffs, and the fact that you came into a new format and made it, season 1. Congratulations. That's like a huge accomplishment in and of itself. We're not going to spoil the outcome because the video is so fresh. Today is Monday, the 19th. You posted it yesterday, and so we're not gonna. Everyone go watch that video. Please support her. Make sure you leave a like on that video. Real big thing.
Link it.
I'll link it down in the description. We'll do that. So you guys go check that out. The WBE, phenomenal experience, I'm sure. Did you, kind of shifting gears, when did you decide you wanted to be a content creator?
It's like 4 years ago. So way back, a couple friends and I started Twitch streaming playing FIFA. It was kind of something that they did, and I kind of like joined along, and it was my first experience with Twitch. And it kind of seemed like a cool concept. We got to like 200 followers and we stopped streaming just because it took up a lot of bandwidth. We had other things. It was hard to get all 4 of us together. Yeah. And it must have been like 6-8 months later where I started playing TCGO, like the trading card game online. And I was like, oh, this would actually be really fun to stream, you know, kind of see what happened, maybe make some friends. And that's when I started kind of getting into content creation, tried making a couple YouTube videos, found that I really enjoyed making content, and it just kind of took off from there as I kind of went into making it like a hobby into something that I wanted to pursue as like a passion and like a dream of mine.
Which is a recent, right? You just recently transitioned to be a full-time streamer?
Yeah, just over the summer, which is I wasn't prepared for it, so that was a little spooky. Still is spooky, but you know, we're doing it so far, which is cool.
That's great.
Yeah, the grind is real when you all of a sudden don't have a day job kind of sticking in your way. But talk to us about that feeling, because I know that there's a lot of content creators out there that not only are getting themselves started, but maybe some that are already on the cusp that have that opportunity that you can see that cliff on the other side and make that leap. What was that like for you? Obviously, you talked about how it was a little bit scary, but now what ultimately made you make that decision?
Basically COVID, just straight up.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a shift supervisor at Starbucks, and just with everything going on in the world, I did not feel comfortable for my own health being in a public setting. People would come through who had just tested positive. There was close interactions. I just didn't feel comfortable. And at that point, I'd been part-time on Twitch and part-time at Starbucks for like a year and a half. Oh, wow. And when things started getting really bad, I told my managers if I took a leave of absence, I wasn't coming back. And I don't think they believed me. And then finally, one day they came in and I was like, all right, I'm peacing out. Bye. And then I took my leave of absence, realized that I could actually maybe rely off on the income if I was careful. And then I ended up quitting, and I've been doing it full time since.
Wow. That's awesome though. That's awesome. 'Cause it's scary. It really is scary to take that leap into like something that, I mean, it's common. It's getting more common now to do things like streaming and YouTube and stuff as your career, but it's still scary, and not a lot of people can make that jump. So the fact that you were able to do that, and it's like, you know, that's different. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot more work than just going to a regular 9-to-5 job, I feel, because it's like probably sometimes even 24/7, because you're constantly thinking about what you're going to put out there, what you're going to do next, and working and everything. So that's so awesome.
Constantly. Yeah. Constantly on my mind. There's literally no breaks.
Yeah.
So it's not as easy as people maybe sought out to be, which is crazy. What kind of content do you typically do now outside the VGC double stuff?
So primarily I stream on Twitch. So for a long time I'd been streaming the card game, and then I switched into shiny hunting in like September 2018, and I ended up getting partnered a couple months later, and then I did shiny hunting for like a year and a half at that point. And then when I got the invite into the WBE, A-Drive messaged me like, you got to start practicing. So I started streaming VGC, and the channel actually kind of started taking off. I definitely don't think I could have stayed full time if it wasn't for the jump that VGC gave me, which is it's so cool. It's really, really cool how everything kind of just like linked together there. I'm loving creating content for VGC so much, and it's really given me that opportunity to be full time and kind of pursue it a little more.
Wow, so it almost seems like the stepping stones kind of formed themselves into place as soon as everything kind of steamrolled from there. Yeah,
they really did, which is really cool.
Now, so it looks like you're primarily off Pokemon, right? You typically do Pokemon content. That's the general kind of backbone of your content at the moment, right?
Yeah, all Pokemon.
Yeah.
When did you first become a fan of the franchise? Just overall.
Honestly, ever since I was a little kid, my parents got me Pokemon cards right away. They got me the video games right away. My dad used to read, like, it was like one of those, like, it wasn't even like an actual book. It's like one of those handbooks where it's like, Bulbasaur evolves at this level
Daniel had
and learns this move. And I would make him read that to me as a bedtime story.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Like, there's pictures of, like, when I'm so young and it's like Pokemon Easter chocolates and all this stuff. Like, I literally have grown up with the franchise. I've not really known my life before having it being revolved around
That's
Pokemon, which is
crazy.
kind of weird, but
That's what's crazy is that the common denominator for most content creators that are doing it now, that's kind of the general gist, that all of us started at a really, really young age. So you kind of primarily started yourself off of the trading card game, right? Were you mostly a collector, or was that just more in awe of the just franchise itself?
so I played like more so the, like, I've never actually played like VGC, but I played like the video games, like every form of Pokemon content I had growing up. And then I started playing the TCG competitively. This before COVID, it was actually my first year going for my Worlds invite. And before that, I would like travel around to all the events. I produced regionals and I did a bit of casting as well. And it was kind of something like, this is what I wanted to pursue for competitive until VGC came around, and I just kind of fell in love with that a little more than TCG.
Have you kind of been keeping your eye open from the most recent events? It's still really weird for me to say this out loud, but Logan Paul kind of sparked everything up going, just because he's such a massive content creator just on YouTube in general. And then when he became interested through the Pokemon trading card game as a collector through Gary Vee, just because it's such of it's like an investment to where you can purchase the cards now, and then the cards will grow in value. And then all of a sudden the community just sparked up trading card game wise as collectors, not more so as players. But do you do that as the collecting side of it at all?
I don't really collect too much. All the cards, I have thousands of cards in the house, but a lot of them are more so for competitive. I collect like a couple of like Mew cards or Ho-Ohs and like things that I think are cool. I have a couple of really nice ones like on display in my stream room, but I'm not as crazy as other collectors that try and go for like all this stuff. I just don't have the money to invest in any of it, honestly.
As much as we would love to, it's tough.
It's super expensive. They're like, oh yeah, I just casually bought this for $15,000. I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, kind of just sparking the algorithm. Randolph, who is also a coach with you in the WBE, his main content is trading card game collecting. So he tries to go out and purchase packs, opens them up on streaming, so that way he can sell cards on his website. Kind of the general gist. Now, you being a fan of the overall franchise, if I were to tell you, probably the most difficult question I would say to any fan of Pokemon in general, if I were to ask you, if you talk about Bulbasaur until the very last end of the list, if you had to choose one Pokemon out of them all, this doesn't have to be aesthetic wise, it doesn't have to be just competitive, being new to VGC, what is your favorite Pokemon of all time?
Currently Mew. I just think it's super, super adorable. I just love how cheeky Mew is. Super cute.
It is a cute one.
Which doesn't surprise us, since it's your mascot, huh?
Yeah.
Now, about your mascot and your team, do you live in Toronto?
Yeah.
I live like in the Ontario area. I grew up in BC, but Vancouver Mews didn't really sound that fantastic. I'm actually not a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs at all, which is really funny. I consistently talk about how the Leafs suck, and I know that's definitely gotten me a little bit of hate from some fans. And they're like, "Why'd you name yourself after a team that sucks?" And I'm like, "Because I suck." Like, but it worked out. It sounds cute. That's all I was going for.
You're like, as long as it sounds good, that's all that matters, really.
Yep,
exactly.
The aesthetics is all that matters.
Yeah.
If it looks good, it works good.
Yeah.
So before you started doing this whole thing, you were a shift leader at Starbucks. What do you do now outside of content creation? Because obviously we don't do this 100% every single day. Well, some do, your mind's kind of always kind of consuming ideas to get out on content.
But what do you do to like take your mind off
for fun?
Yeah, basically.
So whenever it's not all about content, which a lot of my life is, I don't have any like friends or family in the area, so I'll just play like video games online, mostly like Valorant or CS:GO. I love FPSs. If I could stream anything other than Pokemon, I would 100% get into FPSs. Like I just have so much fun with them.
Oh, nice.
I caught that. You said that you don't have friends and family in the area. So did you move out on your own? Just kind of take that leap and have no one around, no support, and just do your own thing?
Yeah, so I lived on West Coast before. My very first Pokemon event I went to, my plane ticket cost over $700.
Cool.
And I wanted to compete, I wanted to travel, and it was really difficult for me to do that on a budget out west. So I made the decision to move out to Ontario so I could drive to events. It would be easy for me to drive the few hours into Detroit to fly anywhere I want for under $100. And yeah, there's no one here. I just literally packed everything I owned in my car and drove across the country.
Wow.
Here I am.
Wow.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Congratulations. I feel like everybody at some point in their life really has the urge to do that.
Yeah.
No matter where it is, obviously it has to be in the same continent because you got to drive there, but it's starting a whole new, and the fact that you did it because you have a passion about something is just even more admirable.
Yeah.
It shows that you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you just have so many risks that you took. You picked up and left. You straight up went off to doing content because of what happened in, the current state of the world. Mm-hmm. Have you always been that kind of person that just takes risks and then if it happens, it happens? Or is that just something that you've acquired as of recent?
No, I just love going for stuff like my whole life. Like, I don't know, if there's an opportunity presented for you, I mean, you never know what's going to happen out of every opportunity. And like, if you think about it, when I was thinking about moving out here, I think everything got settled in like a month between transferring jobs and finding a place. It's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to waste a couple $100s in gas, get out there and not enjoy it. I can just move back. Same with content creation. If it doesn't work out, I've already been offered a job. I have one on standby. You have to take the risk to know what you can accomplish. And as long as you know that you can go back or that you can have another plan, just why not, right? Just go for it. Life's too short.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing is like, I think a lot of it too, because I mean, a lot of it is like listening to your intuition. And I think that's the best thing you can do. Like if you're passionate about something and it's telling you to go that way, like just do it, don't even, when you start second guessing yourself, that's when you're like holding back on life. I feel
that just goes as a life lesson to everybody.
For it more than you're ever going to regret doing it.
Exactly.
And Sierra is just a prime example of that. I admire you so much. We just met, like literally. I messaged you guys, fun fact, I love to tell these stories. Now it's a fun conversation to have with other people outside of what we do. I've always been really extroverted. I don't care who you are. I'll always reach out. I've reached out to Dan. Dan's a busy guy, so we couldn't get him on the podcast, which is fine. Now I'm great friends with Joey, Pokemon MD, Kyle A, MB, all these amazing people.
Scared.
And I'm not afraid to talk to somebody. I reached out to Sierra via Twitter like months ago. I tried to get her to come in, but it was lost in the message request that happens. But guys, if you want something and you need to feel like you need to get it done, just go for it, man. Sierra's a prime example. We just met not too long ago, and Homegirl's main definition of her entire life as a reason is that she just took the risk, and look at her now. Dude, if you guys feel like as though you're not where you want to be, let Sierra be a prime example that you can be. And I'm like, it's kudos to you that you have taken these steps to get to where you are, and all of a sudden now you're in the epicenter of the Pokemon community with the main source. Listen, Sierra, I don't know if you understand.
I think
literally like where you are right now, because the WBE is the number one draft league
trying to get into WBE
in the entire platform. And this is not just so on YouTube. There's a whole underground scene on Showdown that has hundreds and thousands of players that just don't have access to an Elgato, and that are amazing just players that just aren't good content creators, because not everybody can be so extroverted.
Are not passionate.
Exactly. They're just not passionate about doing content creation. So the fact that you're on the tippy top and you made playoffs in that league, pat yourself on the back. First season. Oh my God. I'm so hyped for you. That's so great. I'm so excited to see where you come out of. Now, do you feel as though you need to pull that extroverted content creator side of you, or does that just come out naturally?
I just love what I do. I'm actually more introverted, which is really funny. Like after every stream, I just like sit there and just like listen to music and just like recharge my batteries. But like, I don't know, like when I'm like around people or when I'm streaming or creating content, just like the passion that I have for Pokemon and stuff, it kind of brings out the more outgoing side of me. And I don't know, I just love what I do.
So you being just whole with Twitch and YouTube, do you find a love more so than the other? Are you more of a fan of Twitch? I know that's your main source of income, but do you find a general like more so to make a video and post that?
I love both in different ways. Like Twitch is primarily, you get to speak to a live audience. Everything is live. Everything is like fresh and different. And it's really that interaction and getting to connect with people, which is really, really cool about the platform. Whereas YouTube is really cool because first I can edit videos at 4 a.m. Already established I'm a night owl. I love that I can do that with my schedule, but it's really cool to kind of push the boundaries of the content that I can create. And I still don't think I'm very good at the YouTube content creation, especially looking at the people that I admire, but it's cool because I can have that opportunity to create that more lasting content. I can edit things. I can try and get a little more creative, and it kind of just brings out a little side of you that you can't really do with Twitch as easily.
Yeah, definitely.
That's very true. And then it's also more so that Twitch is very interactive because people are typically asking you questions, right? And then you have to kind of keep more eye on what exactly they're saying just to kind of keep them engaged in the entire way versus you just having this, not a script, but a general plan for the content.
Yeah,
and then you can just, create it how you want it to create it. And then everyone sees it all at once.
Yeah.
Like every Twitch stream is different. Like sometimes it's just super outgoing and chaotic, and sometimes we sit there and have like deep conversations. Like when I start every stream, I'm just like, I'm gonna play VGC. What comes of it the stream after that, I have no clue. Whereas that's always fun and adventurous. Whereas YouTube, there's always a plan, but then being able to explore that plan and create something lasting is just a really cool feeling as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, for those of you who are keeping active and updated to the Grandmasters table, we definitely, we announced to you guys that who we're going to have on the podcast, and today was no different. So make sure you guys follow me at Grandmaster D-Ray. Today we sent out a tweet to kind of get you guys a little bit more involved in the podcast. Allows you to shoot your shot, quote unquote, to get yourself your question answered to whoever we have here today. So we're going to hop on over to Twitter. We're going to go from the bottom to the top because those are the people that answered first. From the very bottom on Twitter, we have Mark at Mark. Oh, wow. Mark. Can you read that? Mark Carmark. MARKAKAMARK 17. That's a name.
That K is messing me up.
What a name. You have a PFP of a Pikachu with a Nash cap, so that's all we need to know.
Yeah.
Mark asks you, what pushed you to switch from competing in the TCG to VGC? And what's the biggest difference you've noticed from competing in both?
So the main thing, I've always been like intrigued in VGC. Obviously, the WBE was the main reason for me to switch. I finally got to explore VGC. I got to discover that I really liked it. For me, I think just VGC clicks a little more with me. I really just think it's a lot of fun. There's really big difference in the competition. In TCG, you take turns. So I'll play out my turn. So your opponent, they might not know what's in your hand or in your deck, but they know the actions that you've done, and then they can sit there and react to what you've done. Whereas VGC, both things happen simultaneously, which gets a really cool level of mind games going on, which I don't know. I think that's the coolest thing. I love sitting there on the ladder and trying to just like outbrain my opponents and do like the craziest stuff, which you don't really get as often in TCG just because of how the turns are laid out. And that's been like one of the biggest differences so far.
Yeah, it's the strategic value that you have. The difference is that you have to kind of big brain your opponent more so than seeing what's actually on the table in front of you, which is cool. Which is cool. Now, the next question we have here is from Seth Cohen at Real Seth Cohen. Two-part question. First part, he asks you, she, if you had to choose one G Fuel flavor to drink for the rest of your life, what would it be and why?
Hype sauce, because it's honestly just fire. It's raspberry lemonade. It's honestly the best. I drink 2 shakers of it a day. It's so good.
Oh, wow.
The name, even though just
the main
hype sauce. That's
right.
dope.
You already know it's good from the name.
Yeah.
Right? Step 1 complete. The part 2 that he asks you is, when it comes to competing in VGC, who is the one person that you go for will you go to for help when you have questions?
Well, it's been really nice because through the WBE, I've had a whole front office of people to help me out. So if I ever have any questions, like I can ask them. I've made fantastic friends with all of them, and I can ask them things. I'll sit and like showdown, and even just play for fun matches against them, and that's really just kind of like helped me learn and progress as a player.
Yeah.
Yeah, practice matches are pretty important, especially in the doubles format.
And when you're just learning it too.
Yeah, 100%. Did you... I'm going to kind of add this question in myself. I am a singles draft league player. I came from VGC because I did events similar to what Wolf and Aaron do. I personally don't find mock battles as beneficial because I like to kind of gauge who I am playing in the beginning and their maneuvers and the plays that they're going to make from the very first turns of the game. Did you find it was a big benefit to do these practice mock matches, or was it where you did the practice mock matches and all of a sudden the player just does completely something separate?
Opposite.
Oh, for like the WB practice or
for the WBE practices?
So it was nice because like there's a variety of different players. So they all have different play styles, which made it so I had to kind of adapt. I feel like I'm a very strong game 2 and game 3 player because I can adapt. So that was kind of something that I learned from all the battles. I mean, I would sit there, we'd play the same team for hours on hours. And the whole thing would just be like how I could adapt from one game to the next. And even if they didn't play the same as like my opponent, it still gave me that opportunity to learn how to properly adapt and to be planning for like the next games, which I think is super, super beneficial.
Yeah, big note taker. I've noticed that you were taking a lot of notes, which is a good thing whenever you are playing doubles, because learning items and learning whatever moves on there is going to be great whenever you move on to the next game. So for those who are starting on the VGC format, make sure you always take notes. Muy importante. Muy importante.
Information is everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah,
especially if you can even hold on to your information.
There's so much of it. There is so much. Even in like singles, there's so much that you need to learn. I have no idea. I loved Pokemon as a kid and stuff, but I'm not in the, like, I don't know anything. I don't know competitive. I don't know anything, like absolutely anything. And I've learned because, you know, I'm supportive of Daniel and I watch him and stuff. So I know like typings, and that's just about, I know what's good against, like what's bad against what and what's good against what of typing. Well,
I don't know typing, so you already have that up on you.
But like when it comes to like items and like what's the other one, like
EV spreads, IV spreads,
all that, and what type of like mood the freaking Pokemon is in, like if it's all these different
natures?
the natures, I'm just like, what the hell, dude? Like this takes forever.
That's a good question to kind of direct towards you. Did you find yourself overwhelmed at that moment? Because like Summer said, there's a big four, right? There's the natures, which is a big part in competitive. There's typings, huge part competitive. And you're saying if you don't even know them completely now, awesome. That's to crazy, you.
Yeah.
But you're at the where you are without typings. There's obviously EV spreads, IV spreads, which is the general characteristics of the Pokemon. And then there's the moves that they have, because
the freaking moves list too. It's like,
exactly, because obviously there's a specific type. Let's throw out one of your Pokemon, for example. Sierra has Talonflame on her team. Her Talonflame is a fire flying type, but Talonflame also learns other moves that are not fire flying. Did you find it a little overwhelming when you're first kind of starting to kind of get all this information all in at once?
100%. But like what I recommend when anyone starts, which is kind of how I started too, is I kind of went in and wasn't too worried about learning everything at first. So I literally, I stole a rental and I just hopped on the ladder and I just let my opponent kick my butt over and over and over. And like the first month, like I played hundreds on hundreds of games, and I just kept repeatedly playing because I feel like that firsthand experience you're going to learn. And I don't know typings because Pokemon TCG, all the typings are weird. But I mean, I don't think that you can sit down and really look at these things and learn. I really just think the best way to not get overwhelmed is to just slowly, naturally pick the things up and just like playing the game.
This is true.
Isn't this just like a life lesson?
I know, right? It's because I have that problem where I'm a type of person that like I need to know. Like I need to know. I'm such a learner, and I need to know everything before. Not that I get into something, but I just like to have the knowledge of things. So like I go in and it's very fluid. Like it's very what's the word I'm thinking of? It's very natural. Like it's not like, oh shoot, what does this do? But I get and in something like this, you kind of just have to go with the flow with it. You can't you're not going to be able to, I mean, you can try, but it's going to be a lot more difficult for you to try to learn everything before you actually get into it. It's more of a learn as you go type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially because some things you don't need to know right away. So I remember a couple weeks into streaming, somebody asked me what nature my Cinderace was. I'm like, I don't know. They're like, you should know every single one of your Pokemon natures. And I was like, dude, I didn't even know that Sucker Punch was a priority move until yesterday. How do you expect me to tell you every single nature and IV on all of my Pokemon? Because that's not useful information at that time. And now I know some of the natures, but I feel like if you try and overwhelm yourself at the beginning with all of this irrelevant information, you're not actually going to be looking at the bigger picture and improving.
Exactly.
Which is smart. It's really smart.
No, I completely agree.
Because at the end of the day, guys, so what Sierra's saying is right, because just from someone that is of experience, for those who don't know, natures are a positive and a negative reaction to the IV spreads, which means that if you're adamant, your attack does a little bit more, meaning it's subtracting your special attack. On a Pokemon like Cinderace, that doesn't matter because Cinderace isn't typically a special attacker. Sierra kind of proved that otherwise because she did that a couple different times, which is amazing. But basically, it's damage calculation. And as long as you guys are doing those damage calcs and you know how much it's going to do in the first place, technically it doesn't really matter. So, like Sierra said, just to play your game and then just learn from there. And you're the biggest example of that. So again, kudos. I'm in awe of you because you're learning in a way that's not typical.
Yeah. I think everyone tries to do like that. Is learn everything before they actually. Because
I was taught that when I was first getting into Pokemon, I was told, listen, dude, there's 4 things you need to learn, which is the 4 things that I described. Once you get those things, then you just literally a strategy from there. You have to learn kind of maneuvers and mechanics of the game, and then you'll be golden. And it took me, I think I remember, I started doing singles draft league probably a year ago, around this month or last month.
Yeah.
And I spent an entire 3 weeks understanding what that means. And that's a lot of time spent, man. That's a lot of headaches that you're doing. And it's a game, guys. Just go out and play the game. Be a Sierra Don. Don't be a Grandmaster D-Ray. Yeah, be a Sierra Don. Don't be a Grandmaster D-Ray. Don't do that. The next question that we have here on Twitter is from Nathan A at Nathan2941. He asks you, what is your favorite thing about the community you have created? Also, you have some of the best emotes everywhere on Twitch.
Oh my gosh.
Some of which were thrusted upon you and one of which was so good it was banned. Wow. What are your all-time 5 emo? Because there are multiple questions here. The first part of the question he asks you is, what's your favorite thing about the community you've created?
Honestly, I just love that I've created a space where I can be myself, but also people are comfortable to come and also be themselves. And seeing the friendships and stuff form in the community. I don't know. I've made some fantastic friends through my community. I've met some people that have absolutely changed my lives in a way that I never knew that Twitch could. And I get to see these people build this relationship with other peoples as well. I know of groups of people that are just fantastic friends now that have all met through my community, which to have created that space is just so powerful. And I don't know, just people end off their workday and they'll come by and it's a place where they feel comfortable and they want to hang out, they want to spend their time. And I know growing up, I would have killed to have a space like that at times, and it's really really cool that I can provide that for other people as well as providing entertainment and stuff.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Definitely. People want to feel a part of something.
Yep.
And it sounds like that's what you created. Community. So that's awesome. Cool stuff. Now the last part of the question that he asks you, we gotta get some backstory because I'm super intrigued now. He asks you, what are your all-time top 5 emotes of yours, and why is it number 1 Mr. Moist, the Mr. Mime?
Okay, well, it's definitely not that one. Don't let anybody fool you. That emote is literally cursed. I was joking about it on stream, and the person who does all of my emotes and stuff, Maury, was there. Was like, I would not do this emote. I would have to be paid $100, and someone instantly donated $100 on the spot and was like, make this emote. And I mean, I love a good meme, and I'm just impulsive, and I'm like, LOL, okay, let's do it. And it's literally the worst thing to have been created. I hate it so much. So it's not that one. I don't know. I don't know if I could even pick 5. There's a couple of really cute ones, like a Detective Pikachu like sip. There's like a Score Bunny like WTF, which is really funny. My mods just in celebration of making the playoffs got a Dracozolt with sunglasses commission.
Wow, that's cool.
So funny. Yeah, it's super cute because like they'll commission like emotes behind my back for me, and they're all super in tune with like the community and stuff, which is just really cute and like super personalized. And then obviously our band emote was a top favorite of mine, but it's gone now, which sucks. But you know,
why did it get banned?
So basically, it was the thickest Bulbasaur you've ever seen.
Oh my god!
And Twitch wasn't about that. And someone reported it, and it got taken down. So,
oops. Yeah,
we love the trolls. We love you guys so much that it's that much attention. But anyway,
that
one day,
thick
you know, once it's on the internet, it's never off the internet. We'll find it one day, and we'll have a big laugh. So, the next question that we have here is from Sean McMahon. My God, guys, listen, I suck at names. I'm sorry to every single one.
Yeah, and I'm worse. So.
By @ThunderXRe. ThunderXRe. Sean, I'm sorry, bro. We appreciate you, man. What is the best fossil and why is it Dracozolt? Was on your team. Love to hear this one.
Well, first, all the other ones suck. You can just look at them and know that. But like, have you ever, if you've ever hopped into a battle with Dracozolt, you not just seen the pure happy smile that it has? Like, I don't know. I think Dracozolt is so cute. It's so good. Super, super clutch, as evident by the WBE matches. And he's just such a happy boy all the time. Like, I love him. Plus, in the match against Wolf, he did not miss a single move to the point where Wolf was convinced that Dracozolt was Volt Absorb because I did not miss a single move. So I'm just saying. I think Dracozolt's pretty fire, and he's proven that time and time again.
Oh man,
Daniel's scratching his head because in his currently in BBR he has Dracovish. So,
ladies and gentlemen, we are in the finals of the GlitchhxCity Battle Royale, and their star of the show is Dracovish. Now, listen, it's funny because the comment down on Sean's post, Froxy, shout out to Froxy, he's a big supporter of my community, and he obviously is following the BBR and he's supporting us. I appreciate you so much, Froxy. He commented on, he says, "That's an odd way to spell Dracovish." It's funny because in her battle against Wolf, she said that this is proving that Dracozolt is the superior fossil. And when I heard you said
Daniel says that all this is proving that Dracovish is.
I was like, I'm cringing
in his videos.
And then I'm proving I'm the best fossil, and then Sierra's over here proving me wrong. Not really, Dracovish.
I'm just saying, Wolfie had Dracovish. Is literally DC Dracovish and didn't even bring the Dracovish because he knew it would get dunked on by Dracovish. That's what I'm saying. That's proof right there.
Oh my god, I love it. We're gonna have to. Oh boy, I'm getting heated. I'm just kidding. That's amazing. So, by the way, guys, both fossils are absolutely phenomenal.
By the way,
but one is superior. We'll just say that. Anyway, so the next question we have is @_ This is my buddy Star at oh my god, I'm flustered now. Shout out to Dracovish. Anyway, @star_fish. When did you discover the passion for content creation?
Like, I don't know when I fully decided, like, this was something that I love, but just creating more and more content, it was something that I just super, super enjoyed. And till just one day, it was just something that I wanted to do. Like, I can't really pinpoint the moment where I decided it was what I wanted to do, but I started noticing that, like, decisions I was making in life were becoming more revolved around content, including like, the jobs that I had. I ended up quitting my one job because they were super unsupportive of me being a content creator, and like took a huge pay cut and picked up a different job, and like it just decisions that I started making along the way just started to really reflect the passion that I had for content creation, even if I wasn't really sure of it until one day it was just like, well, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, an evolution of it. That's crazy. I always find it so weird how like your jobs, I mean, they're so against what you decide to do on, because Daniel's been in situations like that where there's a job that they're so against what you decide to do with your time outside of that job, which is wild to me. But I'm glad that you followed your passion to go towards that instead of just like listening to
falling in line.
Yeah, falling in line basically.
It was really nice, like switching, because I was super worried about telling, because I quit that job for Starbucks, and I was super worried about telling my coworkers that I competed in Pokemon and I did content for it. But the first week that I worked, I was gone for the weekend because it was Madison Regional, so they all found out I was a Pokemon player right off the bat. And their reactions right off the bat were like, that is the coolest thing, oh my gosh.
Awesome.
And like
That's cool.
going from like one environment to where it was like a negative to all of a sudden like, this is the coolest thing that would help me out. My mouse died and someone brought in a mouse to work and was like, you can have this. Like their support was just so cool, and it was really cool to actually have an environment where they like cared about what I was doing. It was just really wholesome.
That's so cool.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Now, the last question that I have here is from @PlatinumHowler, a great friend of ours.
Fellow Canadian.
Fellow Canadian. He asked us to ask you that. He told us to tell you that he's Canadian too. So Canadian, stand up.
Yeah, Canadian.
Let's go.
Howler asks you, this is a good question. Dang, Howler. Oh my God. What advice do you have for experienced singles players that are looking to get invested in VGC?
Honestly, literally just go for it. I love Victory Road for pulling up team lists and stuff, or content creators. I know quite a few of them have been working on a bunch of stuff for Series 7. I just say grab a team and go for it. The ranked ladder literally resets every month. Who cares if you get a bad rank?
That's
just
true.
Go for it. Especially since you have all of like the VGC knowledge. Like you already know what the terrains do. You know what are priority moves. You have all of this knowledge. The only way you're going to learn past that is to hop into battles, because nothing is going to replace that sheer experience you're going to get from competing against other people.
Yeah, 100%. I like that. That's cool. That's a good logical way to think about it, because it takes the pressure off yourself. If you know it's going to refresh, then F it. Just get out there.
Yeah, it does.
I'm really I really care about my ranks and stuff, and I was kind of scared at first off in a rank. To someone chat was like, "Stop being dumb," and I was like, "All right." And then I hopped in rank, and then
simple
like,
as that.
and it's like, yeah, it literally resets every month. So like, it doesn't. It's cool to get number 1. It sucks if you're 20,000th, like I have almost every ladder. But I mean, it frankly doesn't matter at the end of it. So why not? That's how you learn.
Yeah.
Each month is a new and fresh month for many opportunities.
It's a new opportunity to get bottom of the ladder again.
Exactly.
Summer's pulling out of the fortune cookie.
The fortune cookie, yeah.
The final question we have here is from a member of my front office, Ant, aka It's Whatever. This is a question coming out of the Sanctuary, which is my Discord server. Guys, link is in the description. Make sure you hop on in. Ant, he asks you, who have you enjoyed playing the most so far, and who do you look forward to in playing? Because I'm assuming that we're probably going to see you a lot more with stuff like this in the future.
Man, I hope so. Honestly, both of my matches against Aaron were just absolutely fantastic. I'm assuming we mean WBE opponents.
Yeah.
Both of the matches against him were amazing. I loved going back and watching his perspective on the battle. I mean, I get really nervous watching my battle against someone else because, like, I know I might misplay, or I know I might say something like dumb, but he has like only positive things to say. And after the week 4 match, I felt so dejected and so sad. And seeing his end of the battle, he's like, oh, that was a really good player. Oh, that's super cool. And like, just the level of appreciation that he has for each one of his opponents, and the amount of respect he puts on each opponent, regardless of their experience level. Yeah. I just like, I think the world of him, and I would absolutely love to have that rematch where I could finally beat him.
Maybe third time's a charm, possibly.
Yep.
Yeah. Though, to be fair, first time I ever faced him, which was a ladder match, I did beat him. But the 3 times that I have faced him since, I mean...
It's Aaron, guys, just so for those who don't know, Aaron Cybertron Zing. His content is just all on education. Everything that he does is not for the amusement of the content, which is typically like my kind of thing. Like, I'm all about, do a big play, bro. Open beers on the freaking video. But him, he's just there to teach you guys. And like Sierra said, he's there to not only, win, but to understand and to tell people what exactly is going on. And so if you haven't checked out Aaron before, make sure you please go ahead and do so.
Especially if you're wanting to learn.
Yeah, if you definitely want to learn. I can definitely get hype about that rematch because, you know, to get your redemption on someone, especially from the playoffs, that lights a little fire in you that kind of wasn't there before. So to be able to get that dub, I'm rooting for you because Aaron is the Titan in the format, and to see you come over, you know, hills like that, that'd be super awesome. I would love to see.
It'll
you
happen
in the next
one
season.
day, whether it's in WBE or an IRL event. I mean, it's gonna happen.
You love to see it. You love to see it. Summer, do you have anything to add?
No, you're really great. You're an awesome person, and it's been super fun getting to learn more about you. Because I mean, Daniel watches. I don't watch like Pokemon. I don't watch Pokemon content that much. But when I watch it, it's usually of like I'm looking over Daniel's shoulder. So
yeah, she doesn't do that often. That's probably the biggest praise I could probably tell you is that Summer is a supportive wife that got dragged into a podcast because she's the entertainment value of the whole thing.
I'm not entertained, but okay.
Listen, and Summer doesn't always typically, you know, watch whatever it is I'm watching, but every now and then I'll catch her like doing something around the house. She's washing dishes, she's taking care of the kids, and she just like makes a U-turn and like watches whatever's on the TV. And she's done that a lot for your videos because I've been scouting you out. I'm always curious to find new talent because I'm adamant in a couple other draft leagues too, to find new talent that does, you know, burst out onto the scene, and you definitely have done so. So it's cool that Summer will like make a U-turn and be like, "Oh, this is cool. There's another girl that's out on the out on the scene." Before we hop on getting off on the podcast here and in closing, I wanted to get your thoughts on that. Obviously, Kate Cray was kind of the one that we saw in the draft league community often. She was in the WBE before. She was actually really, aside from Frosted, the only woman that was playing draft league. You shared this more. In this league, there were 3. So yourself, Kay was in the league, as well as Steph. What was that like to be one of the few females in the WBE, which is the summit of draft league?
I'd like to point out, Zoe was also in WBE. She's an absolutely lovely
Zoe,
soul as
there
well.
1, 2, 3, 4, yeah.
Yeah, Zoe.
Yeah. I think it was really cool. So I've always been really adamant that I never want a place in anything based off of purely my gender. I don't want to be included in something just to fill the space of being a woman. However, I didn't feel like that was the case with the WBE, and I'm super grateful to have the space with the WBE where I could create this content. I could go up against these absolutely fantastic competitors and almost be an inspiration to other women in the community that they can like feel comfortable to compete in these spaces too. I've been approached before about how people have felt uncomfortable going up against others in a male dominated space, or just that they've always been nervous too. And I feel like having more women compete, especially a more breakout player where like I didn't know anything going into it, and being like, hey, she can do it, I can do it. I just think like that's the one of the coolest things I've been able to do with the WBE.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because we were talking about that with Kay, and at that time, that was before you came in. So at that time, there weren't that many, and it was something that, like, I think really needed to happen to show the women that there is a space for them here, and that you are, you know, just because it doesn't, you're good. Your skill level is not reflected on your gender, you know, and to not be afraid to put yourself in this, you know, in big leagues like that, which is great. So I think you definitely set a strong example for a lot of young girls and women. You're paving the way, this space. Yeah.
You're paving the way.
Thanks. Thank you.
So we appreciate your time. We know that it is really late for you.
Her afternoon. Now it's getting to the nighttime time for her.
The night owl is sparking. She's starting to light up and ready to go. But we appreciate your time. It was a good time. I really hope that you guys, I really hope that you guys got a different look into who she is. And again, down in the description below, I will leave a link to Sierra's YouTube channel as well as her Twitch. Make sure you go follow and subscribe to all of her stuff. She's an amazing content creator. She has now shown us she's an amazing battler, and she's a great soul. We appreciate you for your time, Sierra. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
Summer, do you have anything else on that second time in closing you forgot? Because you came up with something right on the spot, and that was really good.
No, I'm good.
Okay, sweet. Awesome. Guys, if you guys enjoyed this episode of the Grandmaster's Table, make sure you smash the thumbs up button. Again, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. If you're not subscribed, you're watching this, it's a big red button. It's there. Slap it. It would help us out a lot. With that being said, guys, we're going to get the heck up out of here. Have a great rest of your night. And above all else, be nice. Peace.